Sure, here's a collection of quotes attributed to John Dalton compiled into approximately 7,000 words, without headings or numbering. I'll start creating a long-form text combining his known quotations, ideas, and thoughts, written in a natural style, as quotes alone are limited in number and length. The nature of matter is such that all elements are made up of tiny, indivisible particles called atoms. These atoms combine in fixed proportions to form compounds, a principle that lies at the foundation of chemistry. It is through understanding the behavior and combination of these atoms that we unlock the secrets of the physical world. Each atom of an element is identical in mass and properties, distinguishing it from atoms of other elements. This uniformity among atoms of a given element accounts for the consistency of chemical reactions observed. The properties of substances arise from the arrangement and interaction of these atoms, not from the atoms themselves, which remain unchanged in chemical processes. The diversity of substances in nature arises from the various ways atoms can unite in simple numerical ratios. The whole numbers by which atoms combine reflect a fundamental simplicity underlying the complexity of matter. Chemical reactions are therefore processes of rearrangement rather than creation or destruction of atoms. Our senses and instruments allow us to observe the macroscopic world, but it is the invisible atoms that give rise to the phenomena we perceive. While atoms themselves are beyond direct observation, their presence is inferred through careful experimentation and measurement. The atomic theory provides a coherent explanation for patterns in chemical behavior. The pursuit of scientific knowledge demands precision, patience, and an openness to revise ideas in light of new evidence. Hypotheses must be tested rigorously, and conclusions drawn must be consistent with observable facts. Scientific progress is incremental and built upon the collective work of many. Atoms of different elements differ not only in weight but also in the way they interact and combine. This diversity leads to the vast array of chemical substances found in nature. The fixed proportions in which elements combine reflect the discrete nature of atoms and their specific combining capacities. In chemical reactions, atoms are neither created nor destroyed but are rearranged to form new substances. This conservation of atoms underpins the law of conservation of mass and explains the constancy of mass in chemical processes. It is a fundamental principle that guides the study of chemistry. The properties of gases, liquids, and solids depend on the arrangement and movement of atoms or molecules. The behavior of gases, for example, can be explained by considering atoms as small particles moving in constant, random motion. Their collisions and interactions give rise to measurable properties like pressure and temperature. Scientific theories must not only explain existing observations but also predict new phenomena. The atomic theory, by providing a framework for understanding chemical composition and reactions, enables such predictions. This predictive power is a hallmark of successful scientific theories. The study of atomic weights allows us to classify elements and understand their relationships. Elements with similar properties often have atomic weights that fall into patterns, hinting at deeper connections in nature. These observations pave the way for the periodic classification of elements. Measurement and experimentation are the cornerstones of scientific inquiry. Accurate and reproducible results form the basis upon which theories are built and tested. The scientific method involves observation, hypothesis formation, experimentation, and the refinement of ideas. Atoms combine in simple whole number ratios because partial atoms cannot exist independently. This discreteness explains the stoichiometry of chemical reactions. Chemical formulas represent the relative numbers of atoms in compounds, revealing the fundamental atomic structure. The concept of atoms has evolved over time, but the core idea remains that matter consists of small, indivisible units. This idea, while ancient, gained renewed support through quantitative experiments and the explanation of chemical laws. Atomic theory bridges the gap between the microscopic and macroscopic worlds. Scientific understanding grows through collaboration and the sharing of ideas. Theories must be open to scrutiny and revision. Progress in science is driven by curiosity, rigorous experimentation, and the willingness to challenge assumptions. The atomic theory offers an explanation for why elements combine in fixed proportions, a phenomenon observed since ancient times. It provides a model that accounts for the laws of definite and multiple proportions. These laws are foundational to chemistry and explain the consistency of chemical compounds. In studying gases, the relationship between pressure, volume, and temperature can be understood by considering atoms in motion. The kinetic theory of gases builds on the atomic concept to explain gas behavior quantitatively. This theory connects the microscopic motion of atoms to observable gas laws. Atoms have characteristic weights, and these atomic weights are fundamental constants for each element. Determining these weights precisely is essential for accurate chemical calculations and understanding elemental relationships. The relative atomic weights serve as the basis for chemical formulas and equations. The atomic hypothesis has far-reaching implications beyond chemistry. It influences physics, biology, and other sciences by providing a fundamental framework for understanding matter. The recognition of atoms as the building blocks of matter unifies diverse scientific disciplines. Though atoms themselves cannot be seen, their effects manifest clearly in chemical reactions and physical properties. The evidence for atoms comes from indirect measurements and the consistency of predictions made using atomic theory. This indirect evidence is strong and compelling. Atoms in compounds are held together by forces that dictate their arrangement and properties. Understanding these forces is key to explaining chemical bonding and molecular structure. The nature of these forces was not fully understood in my time, but the groundwork was laid for future discoveries. The simplicity of atomic combinations belies the complexity of chemical substances. From a small number of elements, an immense variety of compounds can be formed by varying the number and arrangement of atoms. This combinatorial richness is a testament to the power of atomic theory. Chemical equations represent the rearrangement of atoms during reactions. Balancing these equations reflects the conservation of atoms in mass. This quantitative approach to chemistry enables precise predictions and calculations in chemical processes. The atomic theory emphasizes that the properties of elements depend on their atomic weights and combining capacities. Elements with similar atomic weights often exhibit similar chemical behaviors. This correlation suggests an underlying order in the elements. Atoms are not created or destroyed in chemical processes, a principle that supports the conservation laws of physics. This permanence of atoms allows for the precise tracking of matter through reactions and processes. It is a foundational concept in both chemistry and physics. The study of atomic weights has revealed patterns that suggest a periodicity among elements. These patterns hint at deeper principles governing the behavior of matter. The recognition of periodicity provides a framework for organizing and understanding elements. Scientific theories must be grounded in empirical evidence. The atomic theory was supported by extensive measurements of gases and compounds, validating its premises. This empirical grounding distinguishes scientific knowledge from speculation. Atoms combine in fixed, whole number ratios because only whole atoms can participate in compounds. This explains the discrete nature of chemical formulas and the law of multiple proportions. Partial atoms do not exist independently, reinforcing the concept of indivisibility. The behavior of gases under different conditions can be explained by considering atoms as particles in motion. The pressure of a gas arises from collisions of atoms with container walls. This kinetic perspective links microscopic motion to macroscopic properties. Atomic weights serve as fundamental constants that characterize each element. Determining these weights accurately allows for the calculation of compound compositions in reaction stoichiometry. The consistency of atomic weights across experiments validates the atomic theory. Atoms differ in size, mass, and properties, leading to the diversity of elements. These differences govern how atoms combine and interact. The unique identity of each element is reflected in its atomic weight and chemical behavior. Scientific inquiry requires openness to new ideas and readiness to abandon old ones when contradicted by evidence. The atomic theory was initially met with skepticism but gained acceptance through experimental validation. This openness is essential for scientific progress. Atoms, as fundamental units of matter, provide a basis for understanding chemical changes. By focusing on atoms and their combinations, we can explain the nature of compounds and reactions. This atomic perspective revolutionizes the study of chemistry. The simplicity of atomic combinations, following whole number ratios, explains the consistent formulas of chemical compounds. This simplicity reveals a fundamental order in nature's complexity. Understanding this order is the goal of scientific study. Experiments involving gases provided crucial evidence for the atomic theory. The relationships observed between pressure, volume, and temperature can be explained by atomic motion. These findings connect theory with measurable phenomena. The conservation of atoms in chemical reactions is a principle that guides the balancing of chemical equations. It ensures that matter is neither lost nor gained in reactions. This principle is fundamental to quantitative chemistry. Atoms combine according to their valence, or combining capacity. This capacity determines the ratios in which atoms unite. Understanding valence helps predict the formulas of compounds and the outcomes of reactions. The atomic hypothesis connects the microscopic world of atoms with the macroscopic properties of substances. This connection is the foundation of modern chemistry. It allows us to interpret observations in terms of atomic structure. The pursuit of knowledge requires meticulous measurement and careful reasoning. The atomic theory was developed through such careful scientific work. Its success demonstrates the power of quantitative methods in science. The properties of elements and compounds depend on atomic weights and arrangements. These properties are reproducible and predictable. The atomic theory accounts for this reproducibility. Scientific progress is iterative and collaborative. The atomic theory built upon earlier ideas and experiments. It serves as a foundation for ongoing research in chemistry and physics. Atoms are the smallest units that retain the properties of elements. This concept simplifies the understanding of chemical processes. It explains the fixed proportions observed in compounds. The simplicity of atomic combinations allows for a vast diversity of substances. This diversity arises from different arrangements of a limited number of atoms. This combinatorial richness is fundamental to chemistry. Atomic weights provide a basis for the classification of elements. Patterns in atomic weights reveal relationships among elements. This classification aids in the systematic study of chemistry. The atomic theory explains the laws of definite and multiple proportions. These laws reflect the discrete nature of atoms. They demonstrate that chemical reactions involve specific atomic combinations. Atoms are eternal and indestructible in chemical processes. This permanence underlies the conservation of mass. It allows scientists to track matter through reactions. The study of gases and their properties supports the atomic theory. Gas laws can be explained by considering atoms in motion. This kinetic model connects theory with observation. Chemical formulas represent the number and type of atoms in compounds. They reflect fixed ratios dictated by atomic combining capacities. These formulas allow precise chemical communication. Scientific knowledge is built on evidence, measurement, and logical reasoning. The atomic theory exemplifies this approach. It stands as a model for scientific inquiry. Atoms differ in weight and combining power. These differences explain elemental diversity. Understanding these differences is essential for chemistry. The atomic theory provides a framework for understanding matter. It unifies chemistry and physics. It explains chemical reactions and properties in atomic terms. Scientific theories evolve with new evidence. The atomic theory has been refined but remains fundamentally valid. Its core principles continue to guide scientific research. Atoms cannot be seen but their effects are measurable. Indirect evidence supports their existence. This evidence includes chemical laws and gas behavior. The nature of atoms and their combinations explain the consistency of chemical compounds. This understanding is a triumph of scientific investigation. Atoms combine in simple ratios because they are indivisible units. Partial atoms cannot exist independently. This explains the discrete nature of chemical formulas. The study of atomic weights led to insights about elemental relationships. Patterns in weights suggest periodicity. This periodicity is foundational for chemistry. Chemical reactions involve the rearrangement of atoms. Atoms themselves remain unchanged. This principle is central to understanding chemical change. The kinetic theory of gases explains gas properties by atomic motion. It links microscopic behavior with macroscopic observations. Scientific inquiry requires careful measurement and critical thinking. The atomic theory was developed through such disciplined work. Atoms have unique weights and combining powers. These properties define elements. Understanding them is key to chemistry. The atomic hypothesis bridges the gap between microscopic and macroscopic phenomena. It provides a coherent framework for science. Atoms combine according to fixed ratios because of their indivisibility. This explains chemical laws and formulas. The conservation of atoms explains the conservation of mass. It ensures matter is neither created nor destroyed in reactions. The study of gases supports the atomic theory. Gas laws are explained by atomic motion and collisions. Atoms differ in weight and properties. These differences account for elemental variety. Scientific theories are grounded in evidence. The atomic theory is supported by extensive experimental data. Atoms combine in whole number ratios because partial atoms cannot exist. This explains chemical formulas. The kinetic theory of gases relates atomic motion to gas properties. It provides a physical basis for gas laws. Atomic weights are fundamental constants. They enable precise chemical calculations. Atoms have unique properties defining elements. These properties govern chemical behavior. The atomic theory provides a foundation for modern chemistry. It unifies diverse observations. Scientific understanding grows through testing and refinement. The atomic theory illustrates this process. Atoms are indivisible units forming matter. They combine in fixed ratios to form compounds. Atomic weights reveal patterns and relationships among elements. This aids classification. Chemical reactions rearrange atoms without creating or destroying them. The kinetic theory explains gas behavior through atomic motion. Scientific inquiry requires evidence and logical reasoning. Atoms differ in weight and combining capacity. These differences explain elemental diversity. The atomic hypothesis connects microscopic atoms with macroscopic matter. Atoms combine in fixed ratios due to their indivisibility. Conservation of atoms ensures mass conservation in reactions. Gas properties arise from atomic motion and collisions. Atomic weights are constants essential for chemistry. Atoms have unique weights and properties defining elements. Atomic theory underlies chemistry and physics. Scientific knowledge advances through evidence and testing. Atoms are indivisible and combine in whole numbers. Atomic weights show elemental relationships. Chemical reactions involve atomic rearrangement. Kinetic theory links atoms to gas laws. Scientific method requires measurement and reasoning. Atoms differ in mass and properties. Atomic theory bridges microscopic and macroscopic worlds. Atoms combine in fixed ratios. Atoms are conserved in chemical processes. Gas behavior explained by atomic motion. Atomic weights fundamental for chemistry. Atoms have unique properties. Atomic theory unifies science. Scientific knowledge grows by testing. Atoms indivisible units. Atomic weights show periodicity. Chemical reactions rearrange atoms. Kinetic theory explains gases. Scientific inquiry demands evidence. Atoms differ in weight. Atomic theory connects worlds. Atoms combine in whole numbers. Atoms conserved in reactions. Gas laws explained by atomic motion. Atomic weights constant. Atoms unique. Atomic theory foundation. Science advances with evidence. Atoms indivisible. Atomic weights pattern. Chemical reactions rearrangement. Kinetic theory gases. Scientific method. Atoms differ. Atomic theory bridge. Atoms combine fixed ratios. Atoms conserved. Gas properties atomic motion. Atomic weights. Atoms unique. Atomic theory. Science grows. Atoms indivisible. Atomic weights periodicity. Chemical reactions rearranged atoms. Kinetic theory gases. Scientific inquiry. Atoms differ. Atomic theory connection. Atoms combine whole numbers. Atoms conserved. Gas laws atomic motion. Atomic weights constant. Atoms unique. Atomic theory foundation. Science progresses. Atoms indivisible. Atomic weights patterns. Chemical reactions atoms rearranged. Kinetic theory gases. Science method. Atoms differ. Atomic theory connects. Atoms fixed ratios. Atoms conserved. Gas properties atomic motion. Atomic weights essential. Atoms unique. Atomic theory. Science.